Last year, I did a tier list on laptops, and it was pretty well received. I mean, most people enjoyed it, but obviously there's some people out there that are just like pissed because their favorite laptops weren't the exact same as my favorite laptops. But that's just how tier lists work, right? It's an opinion thing. This year, I'm doing the exact same thing and hopefully pissing off more people in the process. No, it's just for fun, right? Okay, so I'm gonna be ranking the laptops that I was personally interested in for 2021, and I'm gonna be ranking them not just in order of like technical capabilities, but also other things like, how they look or what the companies were going for and innovation, all that stuff. It's just a very personal opinion, but I'll kind of explain my choices as we go down this thing. So we're gonna start off at the top with the Alienware X 17. So these came out in the fall. I liked this device. I feel like this is an easy A. Like we're starting off with an A. Yeah, easy. Okay, here's the thing. With the X17, this is from a company that's known for running thicker devices that are hot, and it's like surprising how good this thing was. I personally feel like this is the best Alienware product that's come out in like a decade. Really good product, easy A. The X15, less good. It was, you know what? It was the same idea as the X17, right? It was smaller and consequently there's more like limitations as to what you could do with it. But I felt like the X15, like they made it a little bit too thin. You didn't have the mechanical keyboard option. It wasn't as quiet. It wasn't as special. It wasn't as like unique of a product. So I'd put it into C. Maybe a B. Like if I'm being technical, I'd put it into C. You know what? It deserves a C. Like, okay, here's the thing. If they had made it a little bit thicker, I feel like it could have been a B, maybe even an A, but I feel like they screwed up on that part. They were trying to like chase that super thin thing that everyone else is doing, and I think they kind of floundered there. C. Okay, MacBook Pro 16, not particularly a gaming laptop, but a really cool device and something that I was interested in this year. I would place this as I'm gonna go with a B. As technically amazing as it is super, super expensive. It's honestly like 50% more money than an equivalent premium Windows laptop. So I feel like it deserves a B. The 14-inch version though, that, as expensive as that one is, I think it deserves an A because it's the technical complexity and difficulty in shrinking something down, and they did it, right? The ability to get the same kind of performance on a 14-inch device as their 16-inch, that's an A, but because it's so expensive, it doesn't deserve an S tier. And I didn't buy either of these, right? They're really cool, but they're so expensive, so I'm a pass on it. Okay, Prometheus 16. So this was the Alienware knockoff product. So great performer. It's coming from the company that a lot of the laptop nerds love, myself included. It's electronics, but it's a product that is cool in the sense that it's got great performance and they have a design language that isn't like the same as everything else out there. It's a little bit less generic looking, but it's a clone, and they cloned Alienware, and it doesn't quite look like an Alienware device. It's got the Alienware, DNA going on, but it's like this like derpy version of an Alienware device. I think it's cool, but not a B, certainly not an A. Like if you're talking straight performance, A, sure, but you're cloning another brand and it's not like a great clone of it, so it's a C. Okay, Prometheus 17, this is the bigger version. I don't even know why they labeled these things or like titled both of these things with the same branding of Prometheus, because they don't look anything alike. I'd put the Prometheus 17 as a B, I guess. Really good performer, but it's a very generic looking device. It's just special in the sense that it's a strong performer. Okay, the Mech 15 or the Neo 15, if it depends on the brand. So the Mech 15 is made by Electronics, Neo 15 is made by XMG, the same idea. It's a chassis that's shared between the two. This is a very popular device amongst the sweaty laptop nerds and amongst my Discord. Last year, I think I gave this thing a B. I don't think it deserves a B this year. So a couple things come to mind. I feel like this is a brand that really cares about the performance, so they're constantly tweaking it, and this year's generation is definitely better. But also, I put it as an A. So This year, because of the RTX 30 series GPUs, it was difficult for companies to cool these things properly, right? And so what a lot of companies were doing is they were lowering the wattage of their GPUs to try to make it fit into their devices, which is perfectly cool. But these guys, they let it rip at a high wattage and they just dealt with it in a proper manner thermally. So I give them credit for that. It doesn't deserve an S to me. I feel like as much as people love that brand, it's not an S tier because it's like a generic device. Also, the keyboard on it is this mechanical keyboard that I've never been drawn to. So it's an A tier. The Triton 300. Oh, dude, this was like that Intel, the H35 chip. So if you didn't follow my channel, I never reviewed any of these like Intel chips. So Intel made these chips called the H35 chips. And when they came out, I was a little bit wary of them because they were quad-core CPUs, but they were still expensive devices. So truthfully, I felt like the responsible thing for me to do was just not cover them, to not even give them any light of day, because by drawing attention to them, it would just draw interest in them. So I actually just made a video saying, don't buy this stuff. So honestly, I feel like this deserves an E. Dude, you know what? I think we got to open up another tier, because it's like there are devices out there that deserve an E, and for whatever reason, we'll get into them. I feel like there's gonna be more, but this is worse than that. I feel like this is a product class that shouldn't have even existed. I'm making a new tier, an F tier, just for this breed of laptop. And Triton 300 SE is the first one that goes in there. And it's not to like rip on the brand. I feel like it's not really their fault. Like I feel like Intel probably conned them into making the product in the first place, but it wasn't good. And I feel like it shouldn't, I really don't think that thing should have existed. Okay, Triton 500 SE. That one, okay, so this was a very cool looking laptop. It's like a gray color with some teal accents, right up my alley. From a technical perspective, it's kind of in the middle of the pack. But I like the way that it looked. See, what made this one special though was its price point. Like I think Best Buy had a very readily available $1,500 version that was like RTX 3060, and it was like a thin, light device that looks pretty cool. I'm gonna put it in the D. Slightly below average, but I don't think it can sit alongside like the X15. Yeah, no way. So yeah, it's a D. Okay, Nitro 5. Okay, Nitro 5. This is like one of the OG budget gaming laptops. I remember when this thing first came out, like that red and black gaming laptop, I was like, wow, you know, a $700 gaming laptop, this is so cool. I think in 2021, it's still, like it's respectable, right? It's still like they still do this thing because a lot of companies don't touch this stuff. No one wants to be in the thick of making cheap budget gaming laptops that have low profit margins. That's the worst place to be in. But Acer, they still do it, man. They still get dirty and they still make the Nitro 5. I like it. I'm gonna put it in the B. Not an A, B, because I respect it. And here's the thing, if I was a kid and like I was trying to convince my parents to get me a gaming laptop, that would be the one. And so I like the fact that they still do it. No one else is doing it. At least people who have a really tight budget have a gaming laptop. So that's my pick, B for Nitro 5. The Zephyrus G15. Oh, dude, that's this machine right here. Okay. It's either going to be an A or an S tier. It's an S tier. Okay, I like the white color. You know, I don't think it deserves to be an S tier, does it? Okay, so I've been using this as like my main computer for the past, ever since it came out. Ever since I got the review unit, I used it, and then like I've switched off devices, but this is my machine. I like it a lot. There's a couple things I really don't like about it. I don't like the fact that it doesn't have a print screen. I've talked about this in my videos. I use print screen frequently for work and for like just like taking screenshots and stuff. Windows Shift S is not the same as Windows print screen. That is the best. No print screen. Second thing I don't love about it is like the black bezel, like the trim around the screen is black and I don't love it, but white device. You know what's really special about this thing? This is running right now. And the mic, right, there's no fan noise. So few Windows performance laptops have a fan profile like this. And it's something that like not everyone appreciates, but I do, right? This is Okay, it's an S tier. I'm keeping an S because it's a white laptop. There's not a lot of them. People are gonna hate me for it, but it deserves to be an S tier. Okay, okay, the G14. So last year, I gave this thing an S tier. I don't think, no, it definitely doesn't deserve to be an S anymore, for sure. See, what made it special last year is that it paved the way. It paved the road for like all the other AMD laptops out there. Be like, this is what you can do. If you take an AMD chip and you make it thin and like light and you properly cool it, you can pull off something like the G14. And it was cool. It was also extra cool because Asus had the balls to work with AMD and make something from scratch, which was the G14. It deserved to be an S tier last year. This year, I don't even think it deserves to be an A tier anymore. I'm gonna put it in B. The one problem I had with the G14 last year still exists on the G14 this year, which was the screen. It had a very slow response rate and a response time, and I'm just like, it's a gaming device, right? And when you have like 120 hertz refresh, but you have slow response time, you get this ghosting, and I'm like, it kind of ruined the experience for what that thing could be. So I'm gonna put it into B tier. I may shift this stuff later on, but now I'm seeing it beside the things it sits alongside. Yeah, it's a B tier. Okay, the Blade 14, Razer. I really liked this device. And if it came in a 32 gigabyte configuration, and it wasn't just capped at 16, I'd probably use it. It'd have to come in like the silver or white color as well. If it did, I'd probably jump on it right away. So this was, I wanna give it an S tier because they did something special. I'll explain in a second. Let's go with A tier for now. So what makes it special is I think it's the most power efficient device that Windows offers, like bar none. So obviously M1 is so special. Everyone's talking about its power efficiency. The Blade 14 is similar in the sense that it deserves, it just deserves recognition for what they're doing. It's super, super power efficient. It's very small, very compact, yet pushes out a good amount of performance. And also it can be equipped with an RTX 3080, which at that size, I mean, obviously they're cutting the wattage on it and it's not as powerful as some of the bigger boys, but the fact that they're able to do it and cool it properly and quietly, it's at least an A. The only reason why it's not an S tier is because it doesn't come with 32 gigs of RAM, which I would personally use. And maybe if it came in white, it would go up there. So A for now. Okay, the M15, oh dude. So the Alienware M15 R5. This was their AMD variant, their first AMD laptop that I could, at least I've experienced. Okay. The review unit I was sent had no mux switch, it was missing CUDA cores, and it was like a lower wattage GPU. Dude, I wanna put this in like E tier. So I get it. They had like a BIOS update and they fixed a bunch of stuff, but there's still, okay, here's the thing. It's E tier. So this is why. This is an AMD product for Alienware, and you have the opportunity to do something good, right? You have the opportunity to make something that's special and different and just thermally, like, you have something that you can do something different with compared to your regular Intel chips, but they didn't. They made this like sloppy version of the M15, and I mean, they tweaked it, they spent time with it to make it a little bit better, but they could have made something really good. If the M15 R5 had been like their flagship product and they had funding and whatever, they wanted to make this their best product, they could have done it. They absolutely could have, but they didn't. And I feel like they squandered a really good opportunity. So E for you, M15 R5. Now the R6 was the Intel version of that. It was better than the R5. So, you know, it had Thunderbolt 4, had PCIe 4, had all the 4s, but it still had issues. Here's the thing. When you have a device like this that's like a little bit thicker, right? You have the room to cool things better. It shouldn't run so hot. I feel like I'm talking about Alienware here, they focused more on the X products and to make those things better than they did on the M15s this year. So yeah, I'm comfortable giving it a D. I wouldn't put it alongside with the E, with the AMD R5, because that was really not good. The R6 was a little bit better. Okay, the Dell G15. Okay, so this was a product that, it's a little bit weird on this one. So I purchased a unit for myself. The review units that people were being sent were configured with a screen that was not truly representative of what this product was. So this is a budget gaming laptop from Dell. I forget the exact price, but it's like under $1,000 for the starting price. But the screen that comes with the base model, the cheap model, is atrocious. Like, I got it from the store, I was like, what am I looking at? This is garbage. This should not exist in a 2021 gaming laptop. But the product overall is good. It's just that if you want a usable screen, especially usable for games, you have to spend like $1,300, $1,400 and up. And I felt like that was just it's just a weird way to configure these products. It's like you have these cheap price tags to lure people in to be like, yeah, we got this cheap budget gaming laptop, but the screens are complete ass until you spend big boy money. And by the time you're spending $1,300, $1,400, there's so many other options out there. So for me, this is a D, maybe a C, because the product was good. It's just that the screen was garbaggio. Okay, we're going with the C. We're going with the C. The Dash F15. So this was a product that was also equipped with those terrible Intel quad-core chips. But this is arguably the best looking laptop that came out this year, like legitimately. It was all white and metal, and like the trim around the screen was white. And also the lighting was teal, not like RGBs that you could configure into teal. It was like, it only came in one color. It was teal lighting with a white everything else. It was perfect, like truly chef's kiss in terms of the aesthetics, but it had that dirty, dirty Intel chip. So S tier, right? Who cares about performance when it looks so good? Okay, the S17 from Asus. Okay, this was a product that I don't feel was, okay, so what made this thing special, let me place it back down here, what made it special was that the keyboard could lift up on this angle and it would allow the product to vent off its heat a little bit more efficiently. It was really cool. And they've done stuff like that in the past, but this time it was the keyboard that tilted up, not the screen. And it was just like it was a remarkably well-cooled device and really strong performer. And I was surprised at how good the performance was, but and here's the thing, I tried to use that thing as my personal device. Like I wanted that to be like the thing that I used. I never loved the keyboard. It was usable and I felt like, you know, if you bought it and you were stuck with it, you would just learn to get used to it, but I just never got into it. It's definitely not an S tier for me. It's either an A or B. I'm gonna go with B. Because I feel like the idea is cool, but yeah, it doesn't deserve to be. Like along these sides, but with an X17, because that's really good. Yeah, it deserves to be B. Okay. The M16, oh man. I think people are gonna be pissed off with my opinion on this one. So the M16 it's the same idea as this one here, the G15, except it's supposed to be the Intel variant. And you know, they've done two things. One, it's an Intel chip, and secondly, they've extended the screen, so instead of having a chin and a bezel at the bottom, it's just like all screen. But the presence of that Intel chip changed the product completely. They had to make it thicker, they had to make the fans louder, they had to make the fans run constantly. Just like if this was the M16, there's no way in hell that I'd be able to screen record while running this thing without you guys being able to hear the fan. It'd just be going the whole time. And I feel like it just changed what the product was. And I don't even think they should have used that chassis for that particular product. So I'm gonna give it a C. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's just like, it now becomes just like, there's so many other products that they have in their lineup that is like that, instead of it being the thin, you know, ultralight chassis that the G15 was. So it's a C, but I feel like some people loved that thing. Oh well. Okay, the Scar G15. This was, okay, so this is a kind of, it's supposed to be like an inoffensive entry from Asus. It's a powerful performer, nothing crazy about it. It's got some RGBs. The thing I didn't love about it was the keyboard. So it was more expensive than their regular Strix G15. It's like this, it's the Scar edition, it's like the premium edition. And it had a mechanical keyboard that actually failed for me. After like a couple months, one of the keys stopped working. And then I just never liked the typing experience on it either. Like for an optomechanical, the tech is really cool. It's just, it wasn't a good keyboard to me. And it was also expensive. Had cool RGBs though. So I'm gonna put this with, I guess, a C. It's definitely not a D. It's a C. All right, the AMD edition of the G15. So this is the Advantage edition. It's like all AMD. And it was really cool. What really made it special was the price point. So I think it was like $1,600, and it had like the equivalent of maybe a little bit less than an RTX 3080 in terms of performance, which is awesome for that kind of money, right? This, does it deserve to be an A? It's not an S tier, that's for sure. I'd say it's a B or an A. I'd give it a B. I'm comfortable giving it a B. It wasn't an elegant way to cool this device. Like the fans were pretty loud, and I remember it being fairly plain outside of its performance, but at $1,600, it's such a good value. It almost deserves to be an A, but it's just not special enough to be an A, in my opinion. Okay, the Zephyrus Duo. So this was the double screen gaming laptop. This is, I guess, their second version of it. I liked it. And again, it was a product that I wanted to try to make it as my own thing, because editing videos with that extra screen real estate is really nice. And it's like that, you just throw your timeline down there. It was really cool, but it never felt right. And I felt like a lot of people that were drawn to it would have felt the same way, right? It's just like the idea is cool, but it just isn't tuned just right. I felt like if the screen was a little bit, like if it was a little bit closer to the main screen, if that like secondary one was pushed up a little bit or tilted a little bit more, it'd be a better experience. But I'd say a D. It feels bad to put it down there, but it wasn't, again, like looking at the stuff in the C tier, because C is like, at least in this chart, it's still like slightly above average, right? It's not like, nothing on here is bad except for maybe F tier. So yeah, I'm comfortable with the D. Actually, E is pretty bad too. But yeah, it deserves to be in D. C? I'm placing a D because it was so expensive. There you go. Okay, Legion 5. Oh, dude. Easy S tier. This was like fantastic device. It was so good I never even did a review for it. Truth is, I was super busy at the time setting up the new studio, so a lot of the products that came in, I couldn't get to, including some of the Legion devices. But it's very deserving of the S tier category. It's just like well-priced, good performer, like a really good performer, and it looks good. Right? Like how many devices at that kind of price point have a clean, professional look to them without it screaming like super gamer boy? It's one of the best ones out there. So S tier for me. Okay, the Legion 5 Pro, this was less good to me. It's technically the better one. I'm gonna place it in A tier because, okay, two things. I did not like the bigger trackpad. They made it bigger on the Legion 5 Pro as well as the Legion 7, but it just made it a worse trackpad experience to me. Like the palm rejection wasn't good enough. It's just, you're constantly hitting it. The other thing is that I just didn't like the design. Like I felt like it was a product that was just not as nice looking and potentially purposefully done like that. So it's an A tier. Now the Legion 7 was the best of the bunch, but, and this is a little bit more expensive. See, the thing with Legion 7, I don't think it deserves to be an S tier, even though it is the better one of the product. It's a little bit more expensive, but yeah, it's like the price that you have to pay to get the Legion 7, and you do have access to more powerful GPUs and stuff, I just don't feel like it deserves to be an S because it just doesn't have that specialness to it. You're just paying more for a better product. It doesn't have that like special value that Legion 5 does. Also, the Legion 5 goes on sale like really aggressively sometimes. It's quite different. So Legion 7, really good product, A tier, just not an S tier. Okay, XPS 15. I didn't love the XPS products this year as much. Like they were improved from last year, which is cool, but they had this trackpad issue last year, which I drew attention to, and it still existed in both of the products this year. Like I ended up picking up an XPS 15 as well just to see, and it's just, it's a very expensive product, and it's this problem with the trackpads that they've had a year to fix now, where it's rattling and it has issues with clicks. It's a problem. They know it is, and they've admitted it. But after a year, you could have gone to the factory, fixed whatever process or whatever mechanics you have in place that are causing this issue, and it still exists. And it's really weird. So And they also didn't improve the product enough or very much. Also, AMD, if they could stick AMD into this product, it would just be so much better. Like, it's a thin device. It would really benefit from lower CPU temperatures. But it's all Intel. It doesn't deserve to be an E. XPS 15, I'd say, would be a D. XPS 17, better. No, it's also, yeah, I'd say they both belong in the D. They're good, they're just not that good. But I love the design. I think they're some of the best looking laptops you can get right now in terms of the aesthetics. It's just, the internals could be better and should be better, especially for that kind of money. Okay, the Aorus 15G. Man, I did not like the Aorus devices this year. Again, these are things that I did not draw attention to because I felt like they weren't good enough. The Aorus 15G, it was running a GPU that was lower wattage than it should have been, considering the type of device that it was. Also, they got rid of the mechanical keyboard, so this is a D for me. Yeah, the 17G kept the mechanical. I'm not going into super details on these ones. I feel like these are just kind of there because I felt like they should be here out of completion because I did cover them. Well, sorry, I did look at them. I actually spent a good amount of time on these ones. I actually shot the review. I never edited though. Okay, yeah, C and D for those two. The Aero 15, this is better for sure. Also made by Gigabyte. So I had an OLED model version. I really like the screen. Arguably the best OLED screen you can get on a laptop. A lot of people try it and they're all nice to look at, but I think with the Aeros, they tune it better than everybody else. It's like they have the really nice colors that stay accurate depending on the brightness. It's good. Yeah, it's a B tier for me. I'm comfortable with it placing there. Okay, the GE76 from MSI. I think this was the fastest laptop I had. I don't think I had any higher 3D Mark scores outside of this machine. It was really fast in terms of laptops. It's powerful, sure. It's a little bit loud to get there, so maybe a C. There's nothing really I have to complain about this thing. It's just that it's not remarkable, so I'm gonna place it as a C. It's pretty good, yeah. Okay, the GF66. So this was a cheaper budget product. I don't think I did a dedicated review. Oh, my things went all crazy there. I don't think I did a dedicated review on it, but it was, okay, this was a product that should be cheaper than the price tag that it lists for. So this should compete with like the Nitro 5 and products of that. Like it's, I don't know, $800-900 is what it should be, but it's a little bit more than the competition. It does come in that white color, and if it didn't come in this white color, I would slap it in like the D, but I give it a C. It's a fair product. It's just, again, not remarkable. It does not deserve anything more than that. It certainly shouldn't sit alongside the Nitro because of its price point. Yeah, I don't think. You know what? I remember it having a really nice screen though. Like for an inexpensive gaming laptop, it has a good screen for gaming. It's like a fast screen. Maybe a B. Sure. Let's give it a B. I would say that it's a better product than the Nitro 5 in terms of like the overall thing, but it's just more expensive. So depending on your budget. But I like both of them. The existence of both of them allows, you know, budget-oriented gamers choices. Okay, the Stealth. It's another one of those quad-core Intel devices. Easy F. Again, a product category that just should not even exist, to be honest. Oh, dude, Victus. This is a good one. Not a good product, but a good story. So, I had 4 units of the Victus. I bought one, it had issues. I was like, maybe it's just a weird thing. I bought another one, also had issues, separate issues. Like the first one had an issue with the hinge, the second one had a flickering screen, and then I borrowed one from a friend, like a coworker. I just borrowed his, and I used it in the middle of the test thing. Like I was doing a review on it, I was like in the middle of shooting it, his enter key stopped working, and I was like, okay. The quality control on this product is weird. Now I reached out to HP, I'm like, yo, can I get a review unit? They sent one, so I actually had 4 of these devices. Their review unit was perfect. It's just that I felt uncomfortable giving any kind of recommendation because 3 of the 4 that I had issues. And I looked online, there's like, people had issues. So I don't know. I felt like this was a product that I was gonna skip this year. I did not feel comfortable giving any kind of conclusive thoughts on it. Based on the units that I had, E. Based on the review unit, probably a C, but the retail ones that I had access to, a solid E. Okay, the Omen 15. So this was a product that I think got an S tier last year from me. I think so. It definitely doesn't deserve an S tier this year. It's not like a bad product, but it's just a way more competitive market. People got better. They didn't. If anything, they had like a really lazy approach to their product this year. They just did a chip drop and they didn't change a thing. So I'm gonna place it, I don't even think it deserves to be an A, to be honest. Like looking at the stuff that it's sitting alongside with the Legion 5 Pro and the Legion 7, no way. So a B. A B it is. Okay, so I'm gonna take a look at this tier list real quick. I feel like there's stuff I gotta shift around, to be honest. The S tier is deserving. G15, yeah, I feel like it deserves it. The F15, I was like, what? Okay, this obviously doesn't deserve to be in the S tier. I think if I'm being fair and if I'm being true to the statement I said at the beginning of this video where it's like an opinion thing and not just the technical merits of the product, it would be an E because of how it looks. It's not an F. It, you know, from a technical perspective, it's an F tier product with that chip, but it looks good. It's arguably the best looking device that's come out this entire year when it comes to Windows laptops. So it's an E. Okay, let me just take a look real quick. Make sure I don't have anything out of place. I'd be tempted to give the Blade 14 an S tier, but nah. I'm good with this. I think there's nothing on this list that really... You know what's most interesting is like the Legion devices cleaned up this year. They're really good. They're just good. I feel like that company knows what they're doing. They care about what consumers want and they make good product. The one thing that was kind of sucky is that like it was really hard to get a lot of their devices this year. I think they were just out of stock just because of supply chain issues. The other thing that's interesting is the spread on Alienware. They got an A, a C, a D, and an E across their devices. But there you have it. I think I'm good with this list. This was gonna be a long video, but what do you people think? Because last year when I did this, people were like screaming at me. They're like, what the, how can you put that thing in S tier? Okay, listen, that's how tier lists work. You don't have to agree with me to like the content. I wanna see what you have though. What do you think should have been an S tier? And yeah, let me know. I'm gonna check out the comments like I did last year. I'm gonna go through them just like the way communities do. Okay, thanks so much for watching this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. I'll see you guys next time.